Adelaide's 7 News Early Edition with Elspeth Hussey starts now.
Hello and welcome to 7 Adelaide's Early Edition. Adelaide has rewritten the history books, shivering through its coldest ever September morning, as Hayden Nelson reports a polar blast hit SA for the second day running.
Well, it may be spring, but winter returned to the stage for one final song this morning, and the conditions were colder than they've ever been. The mercury plummeted to just over 1 degree at the Adelaide West Terrace monitoring station in the early hours of this morning, the coldest September temperature it's recorded since records began in 1908. And while the sun's out now, there was plenty of frost all over the city and suburbs, with many forced to wipe the ice from their windscreen before they headed off to work or school. The unseasonable spring weather swept in late in the weekend and will continue to blast South Australia and the country's southeast for up to the next 2 days. The plummeting temperatures are the result of a polar air mass arriving from Antarctica, coupled with pulses of southern ocean air. The cold start rough on farmers and grape growers who are going into the spring harvest and having to deal with more frost.
Crows star Matt Crouch won't be charged over the alleged assault of a Port Adelaide fan. Phone vision showed Crouch knock a hat off of a supporter after the fiery showdown loss. They came face to face as the players were walking down the race after the match. The man reported the incident to police, but the Commissioner today confirmed the matter won't be going any further.
My understanding is that the matter is not proceeding, that the person has advised that they don't want the matter to proceed.
The Crows have been contacted for comment. A prime mover has gone up in flames at Royal Park. Firefighters raced to the Motor Trade Association's training facility on Frederick Road around 10:30 last night. The main building wasn't damaged and training has resumed today, but some classes have been affected. The cause of the blaze is still under investigation. A 12-year-old boy is among 3 suspects arrested over 2 chemist break-ins. They're accused of smashing into a pharmacy on Marion Road and stealing cash and prescription medication on Sunday morning. Then shortly after, the same trio allegedly broke into a chemist at Grange and fled with more drugs. Later in the day, police arrested a 36-year-old woman and 2 boys aged 16 and 12, 200 kilometres away on the Augusta Highway near Crystalbrook. They've been charged with a string of offences. New details of the assassination attempt have been revealed as the man accused of plotting the death of the former President Donald Trump appears in court. US Bureau Chief David Woiwod is tracking the developments for us.
Ryan Wesley Routh, the 58-year-old at the centre of this apparent assassination plot, has appeared very briefly in a West Palm Beach courthouse today on 2 guns charges: possession of a firearm as a felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Now, we are learning more about the detail of this alleged plot. Investigators now say that Routh lay waiting in the bushes bordering Donald Trump's Florida golf course for around 12 hours. They've determined that using mobile phone data in the region. Routh was armed with a Soviet-era style weapon. He had food and supplies, seemingly ready to wait this out on the chance that the former president would pass by. This new body camera footage too shows his dramatic arrest on a freeway as he tried to flee, as Donald Trump in the past hour, speaking on a live stream on X, addressed the moment bullets started flying for the first time.
All of a sudden we heard shots being fired in the air, and I guess probably 4 or 5. And it sounded like bullets, but what do I know about that? But Secret Service knew immediately it was bullets. And they grabbed me, and we got into the carts, and we moved along pretty good. I was with an agent, and the agent did a fantastic job. There was no question that we were off that course.
In addition, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, they have also shared a phone call today. Look, it's been described as cordial. The former president even giving his thanks at the end before Joe Biden again addressed the matter of political violence in America.
America suffered too many times the tragedy of an assassin's bullet. It solves nothing and just tears the country apart.
Joe Biden is now ramping up pressure on Congress to pass emergency assistance to the Secret Service to ensure the safety of both candidates now after another violent turn in this election campaign.
The Prime Minister has implored the opposition and the Greens to get on board and help pass new housing legislation today. As Isabel Mullen reports, the Senate is in a deadlock over the federal government's Help to Buy scheme.
Well, the opposition and the Greens have been very vocal about this, saying people don't want to co-own their homes with the federal government. The Help to Buy scheme will head to a vote in the Senate later today. Under that shared equity scheme, people will only need a 2% deposit to buy a new home, the government chipping in 40% for a new home and 30% for an existing home. The Prime Minister was visibly frustrated this morning. This is legislation the government has been trying to pass for 7 months.
This is a practical plan, a shared equity scheme that is actually Greens Party policy and that has been supported by the coalition in other states, including WA.
Allow people on low and middle incomes to get into the housing market when they would otherwise have Buckley's chance of doing it on their own.
As the Prime Minister said, this was originally Greens policy, but they have since changed their position.
The Greens have put an offer on the table and the government is refusing to negotiate. We need to cap and freeze rents, and we need to stop the handouts to property investors, negative gearing and capital gains tax that are turbocharging this housing crisis.
The Senate will head to a vote on this legislation early this afternoon.
Troubled former TV star Andrew O'Keefe will spend the next month behind bars, refuse bail following an ugly exchange with a Sydney cameraman.
How are you? Chasing is not a good idea. Big weekend, mate? As the other fella. You're degenerate, mate. You're a degenerate. That's what you are. You're a degenerate, man.
The matter's before the courts. You guys know as well as I do it'd be inappropriate to comment at this stage.
It followed news O'Keefe had to be revived by paramedics in the early hours of Saturday morning after an apparent drug overdose. A bombshell review into a car crash involving former Victorian Premier Dan Andrews has unearthed claims of a major police cover-up. Tegan Dolling has the story.
The report was organised and commissioned by the victim, Ryan Muleman's legal team. He was actually a teenager back in 2013 when he collided with an SUV that was driven by Daniel Andrews' wife, Catherine. The review was carried out by a former police assistant commissioner, Dr. Raymond Shuey, and he's come to the conclusion that there was a major cover-up by Victoria Police. He claims that certain steps were taken to protect Daniel Andrews and his wife. For example, that they put the investigation under Catherine Andrews' maiden name, that they left out critical bits of detail about the investigation and the crash, things like measurements and photographs that simply weren't taken. He also did a reenactment, and he thinks that the driver of the car, who believes could have actually been Daniel Andrews, was simply driving too fast and on the wrong side of the road when Ryan Muleman was hit. Now, the reason that this has all come to life is Mr. Muleman is actually suing his old legal team, Slater and Gordon, who were representing him after the crash. But as you can imagine, all of this new information and this new review that has been carried out has called for his family to want Victoria Police to reopen the case.
Police are hunting an arsonist after a dramatic ram raid attack on a neighbourhood barbershop in Melbourne. Andrew McCormack reports.
Perfection Barber here in Laylaw in Melbourne's north, completely torched overnight. Have a look at this black Mazda sedan. Around 1 o'clock this morning was backed through the roller door, through the glass front, then set on fire. The shop has been completely torched. I'm told 3 residents on the back of this strip of shops on Lawn Street also had to be evacuated after they heard a loud explosion, and such was the ferocity and thick black smoke of this blaze that they needed to be evacuated from their homes. Luckily, no one was injured. I spoke with a client of this barber. She says the owner has owned it for around 4 to 5 years and they're devastated. Also impacted are surrounding businesses, a bakery and a pharmacy to either side of this shop who were impacted today.
Lost for words, just mind-blowing. I was more petrified when I drove past. I was just hoping that no one got hurt. The world's just gone crazy.
Police have set up a crime scene. They remained here on scene several hours after the incident this morning. Of course, they'll be investigating if this is part of Melbourne's ongoing tobacco wars. We've seen more than 100 shops now firebombed as a result of this 18-month turf war that continues to rage every day here in Melbourne.
A Qantas flight has been forced to make an emergency landing after a confirmed pressure incident mid-air. QF 1871 was travelling from Townsville to Brisbane but was instead diverted to Rockhampton after descending 20,000 feet in just a matter of minutes. The plane continued to fly at a height of just 10,000 feet before landing safely.
Yeah, it was a bit scary when the plane went down, but yeah, that's what it is.
The pilot said that his primary concern is us, so he had to land.
Passengers are being put on new flights to Brisbane. South Australian drivers are on notice with fines for mobile phone use coming into effect this week. We'll have those details next. Also, the death toll climbs as parts of Europe are devastated by floods. And a glimpse of the new leading couple as filming begins for Bridgeton Season 4. Welcome back to 7's Early Edition, live from Adelaide. Locals are making the most of this sunshine at St Clair today. Finally, a glimmer of spring after that chilly start. In the city today, we're headed for a sunny top of 19 degrees. SA drivers are officially on notice with mobile phone detection camera fines to come into effect from Thursday. The Police Commissioner says it's frightening the number of individuals who've been caught flouting the law during the 3-month grace period.
Over the course of the last 3 months, there have been 3 individuals, and this was about 3 weeks ago, 3 individuals who have received 19 warning letters each. Now, that is just disgraceful behaviour.
Drivers caught red-handed will cop a $658 fine plus 3 demerit points. The newsreader who first told the world of the Queen's death has been sentenced for possessing child abuse pictures. Joel Dry has the story.
Well, the fall from grace for one of the UK's most recognisable broadcasters and personalities is complete. But Hugh Edwards, the man who announced the death of the Queen to the world, will not spend any time in prison, with a magistrate here at Westminster Court handing him a suspended 6 months jail term, meaning he was free to leave the building, albeit as a convicted child sexual offender. The details of his criminality are very hard to hear. The court was told that over a period of 18 months he received close to 400 images from a man over WhatsApp. Almost 40 of them were clearly of children. 7 of them, some of them videos, were of the most serious category, depicting children who were likely around the age of 7 years old. It is because of these mitigating circumstances that he was spared prison time. The magistrate saying he had been suffering from a mental disorder and was treating that using alcohol. He was under stress. However, the magistrate also felt that the likelihood of him being targeted in prison and the fact he was unlikely to reoffend made him feel that it was an acceptable case to suspend that jail sentence. So while he will not be in prison tonight, he has given himself a life sentence. He will never work in the public eye again, the magistrate confirming to him that his reputation is now in tatters.
At least 16 people are now dead as flooding devastates parts of Europe, with the death toll expected to rise. The Czech Republic is among the worst hit, while the Polish government has also declared a state of disaster. Thousands have been evacuated from their homes in the worst flooding seen in nearly 3 decades. Torrential rain has also swamped parts of Austria and Romania. A major court battle is unfolding in the US involving one of the world's most powerful media families. The Murdoch family has become embroiled in a fight over the empire's succession. Rupert Murdoch wants to change the structure of his family trust to give control to his eldest son, Lachlan. That would leave his other adult children without any voting power. They're in court to sort out the family feud. Well, now to an exciting development for Bridgeton fans. Season 4 is now officially in production, and dearest gentle readers, we've got a first look at the new leading couple. The next love story will follow Benedict Bridgeton, and it's set to have an Aussie touch too. His love interest, Sophie, is played by Aussie actress Yeren Ha. Well, still to come on 7 News, Tom Wilson will join us with today's sport news, and he'll have the latest on a power trio of stars looking to play in Friday night's prelim. And the Giants defender who's coming to South Australia, but will he be joining the Crows or Power?
The Instagram Game Changer, a major new announcement from the social media platform to support protecting your kids. Plus, the fitness trend defying gravity. See why more Aussies are taking up the viral workout. Start with Sunrise.
Together. A trio of power stars are pushing to play in Friday night's preliminary final against Sydney, most notably defender Kane Farrell. It would be a remarkable return considering he'd been ruled out for the season with a hamstring injury. His elite kick will be lethal at the small SCG. Ryan Burton missed the dramatic 3-point win over Hawthorn with a calf injury, while veteran forward Charlie Dixon was laid out with illness and looks likely to replace Todd Marshall, who's out with concussion. Plagued by head knocks, Marshall had a brain scan yesterday to seek further clarity on his playing future. Swans ruckman Brodie Grundy says the game should embrace characters like Jack Ginnivan and his social media antics. Port Adelaide coach Ken Hinkley was fined $20,000 for taunting the Hawks and Ginnivan for his "see you in 14 days" post. That was sent to former teammate Grundy. The incident overshadowed the Power's semi-final win.
I just got the popcorn out. He's a great entertainer. That's what he loves to do, and I think it's good for the game. He brings personality.
Port's won its last 8 against the Swans. Meanwhile, Giants defender Isaac Cumming will leave the club as an unrestricted free agent. He has interest from both the Crows and the Power. Well, he hasn't played a first-class game, but 19-year-old fast bowler Marley Beardman is in line for an Australian debut. The West Aussie has been called into the one-day squad ahead of Thursday's series opener against England in Nottingham. The Aussie's fast bowling ranks have been ravaged by injury.
Just incredible, so unexpected. I'm just going to try and be as much of a sponge as possible and learn off those boys. They've been doing it so well for so long now.
Beardman was man of the match in Australia's Under-19 World Cup final win. The Matildas' longest-serving coach Tom Samani has taken charge for a third time, named Tony Gustafson's interim replacement. At West Ham, Australian star Katrina Gorry has been named captain for the Women's Super League season in what's been dubbed England's Hollywood Derby. The Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney owned Wrexham took on Birmingham, whose part owner Tom Brady was watching with David Beckham. The NFL GOATs side won the third-tier clash 3-1.
He wants his shot, he wants his goal. It's 3-1 Birmingham City.
Manchester City's hearing into 115 alleged financial rules breaches has begun in London. They're facing serious penalties if found guilty. That's our Sport L tonight at 6. Zach Butters from Port, always an interesting character, and a Sandford Grand Final preview.
Beauty, looking forward to that. Thank you, Tom. Well, enjoy that sun while you can, because we can expect some showers later in the week. I'll have your forecast next. Cardi B has welcomed baby number 3.
It's amazing. I'm so proud of you. She's so perfect.
Yeah, she's little.
The rapper shared this gorgeous video after announcing she and estranged husband Offset welcomed the little girl. The new baby is a little sister for 6-year-old Culture and 3-year-old brother Wave. Let's take a look at the day's weather now. And despite the cold and icy start, we're expecting plenty of sunshine today. It'll reach a top of 19 in the city. Across the state, 25 and sunny in Coober PD, 20 degrees in Port Lincoln, sunny and 24 in Port Augusta, 23 in Port Lincoln, 22 in the Riverland, cloud clearing and 17 in Victor, and a cloudy top of 15 in Mount Gambier. A strong wind warning's in place for the lower southeast coast as well. Across the country, mostly cloudy and 17 in Melbourne, a sunny 22 in Sydney, 24 with sunshine in Brisbane, and up to 27 in Perth today. Back home, another sunny day tomorrow. It'll 22 in the city, then showers for the remainder of the week. 17 Thursday, Friday and Saturday, and 18 degrees on Sunday. And that's all from 7 Adelaide's Early Edition team. Thanks for your company. Will and Rosanna will have all the day's top stories in 7 News at 6. Bye for now.
The 7 News app will give you the news you want every minute of every day, including breaking news alerts. Download the 7 News app now.